or mock exam, part B, multiple choice. What are our questions? Let's see if we can figure them out. Who's got one? Fred.
79.
79. All right, so we've got some function, g of x, and we have transformed it like this. So let's talk about what these transformations do. What does this negative 2 do? Vertical dilation, so it impacts the y's, right? So it is going to multiply my y value by negative 2. Now graphically, we know what that means. It turns it upside down and stretches it, right? Impacts the y's. Right? What does this do?
Horizontal dilation.
No, horizontal translation. It moves it 3 units to the left. So this impacts the x and basically subtracts 3 from it. So this subtracts 3 from the x. Moves it backwards 3. What does this do? Up 1, that's a vertical translation, up 1. So basically, if we're going point by point, it takes your y and adds 1. Would everyone agree with that? So we've got this point on the original curve that's 5, 4. Only one thing up here impacts the x. What's going to happen to that x? It's going to be moved 3 units to the left. So it's going to become 2. Right? 3 units to the left. And what happens to our y? 2 things happen to the y. It gets multiplied by negative 2 and it gets added 1 in that order because of PEMDAS. So this becomes negative 8 plus 1, negative 7. Does that make sense to you, Fred? All right, who else? Anybody else find something? 82. The polynomial function is odd. All right. Okay, so we got all this stuff. All right, the polynomial function is odd. The table gives values of f of x, that's okay, where a and b are constant. What is a plus b? So I need to figure out what a is and what b is. All I know is that the thing is odd. Well, odd means this. If you input a negative, you get a negative. So, in other words, if I input negative 4 and get positive 7, then what is going to happen when I input positive 4? I'm going to get negative 7. Remember, if you input a negative, or if you input negative 4 and get positive 7, then changing the sign on that will also change the sign on this. That's what odd means. All right, so now I need to figure out what this is. Well, if I input negative 2 and got 10, what's going to happen when I input positive 2? I'm going to get negative 10. So it looks like a plus b is going to be negative 6. what if we've been even? What does even mean? Even means there's no change to the y. So if this thing had been even, if inputting -2 gives you 10, inputting +2 would also give you 10. And if inputting -4 gives you 7, then inputting +4 would also give you 7. That doesn't match up with what they gave us, but that's what even means. Even means if you change your x, your y stays the same. Odd is if you change your x, your y also changes. Okay, who else? Yep, you do 81. 81. Which of the following conclusions is possible? Well, I know what that looks like, but I need an answer. I need some kind of explanation for it. So, and I know I can't do it exactly for a lot of these points, but can I at least come up with some points on this curve that are reasonably accurate? For example, if I put in -2, I get 15. That I can pretty much tell that. And if I put in -1, it looks like I get 10. And okay, now things get a little bit hairier. If I put in 0, I get about 7. All right, so let me see if I can figure out what are my options. My heart says, my gut feeling says, that's exponential. That picture looks exponential. So I'm gonna look at F and D first and see if they make sense. All right, not F, C and D. So C says F is exponential because the output values are proportional over equal length input. All right, so these are equal length, okay? Now, is this proportional? Well, this one would be 10 divided by 15, which is what? 2/3. And this is 7 divided by 10. So this is 0.67 and this is 0.7, and that was an approximate number. So I'm thinking these are proportional. I'm thinking the ratios are the same. Let me see what D says. The average rates of change can be given by a linear function. I'm not even gonna mess with that. C is the answer. It looks exponential, and it is. Okay, anything else? Your average rates of change for an exponential will not be linear, remember? Yeah. 85. 85? All right, let's see. So, the average rate of change, okay, the average rate of change of R. Okay, so remember, the average rate of change of R okay, so if I am looking from A to B, point A to point B, so that would be B minus A, right? Tell me about that. What is the R value at B? Or yeah, at B. What's the R value? 6. And what's the R value at B? Or at A, I mean. 4. So that's 2. Okay, so the curve is increasing. It's increasing. R is growing. Okay. How about A to C? What's happening from A to C? What's the R value at C? 4. And at A it's the same, so isn't that one 0? How about from B to C? So C minus B. C minus B. So at C it is 4, and at B it's 6, so that's negative. So if you're going from B to C, your R value is getting smaller. Look at the picture, that makes sense. And then how about from B to D? From B to D. What's your R value at D? 2. And your R value at B is 6. So you have another negative 1. Now what do we want to know? Where is it the greatest? Here are your choices. Where is it the greatest? B or A, B. A, B. Positive. Positive. Growing your average rate of change. How is R changing? Alex?
Can you do 80?
Which one?
80.
80? Um, 80, right? 80, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When we are doing this average rate of change stuff, let's keep an eye on what our formula is. Here we got actual numbers we're working with. So our average rate of change is going to be K of 2 minus K of negative 4 over 2 minus negative 4. Does that look okay, Alex?
Yeah.
So now I need to find K of 2. This is a piecewise function. So I have to look at the piece of the function that 2 is actually part of the domain. So the only piece of that function where 2 is part of the domain is the bottom piece, right? So I'm gonna plug 2 in, and it's gonna say A minus 8. So this right here is A minus 8. Now I'm gonna plug in negative 4. And that has to go into the top line of the function. So if I plug negative 4 in there, I get negative 7. So minus negative 7 over 6. Okay, so what, and remember, they told me the average rate of change is 2. So I have 2 equal to A minus 1 over 6. So it looks like A is 13.
Got the right answer. Didn't do it that way.
It doesn't matter, as long as you get the right answer, it's all good. Now, if this had been a free response question, you would have to have this set up. That's a required element in a free response question. All right, anything else from this page? Yep, go on. 87. So my job, it says it's exponential, so I know what that looks like. They even tell me. Even if they didn't tell me, I would know that it looks like this. All right, now, what does this mean? What is that? What does that mean? What's that saying to me, Alex?
That tells you how much the value 40 is.
These are consecutive terms. This is like f of 2 and f of 3. They're consecutive terms. So the ratio of the consecutive terms is 3. That means that, right, limit 3? Yeah, that means that this guy is 3 times this guy. So the terms are like 2, 6, 18. That ratio. So that's B. That tells you what your B is right there. That's your B. So now I know what B is. I can find A because they tell me that the point 2, 36 is on the curve. So 36 equals A, times 3 squared. So A has to be 4. So my equation is 4 times 3 to the x. C. All right, let's look at our free response. I hope everybody who did the right problem.
Your response is so easy.
Found it to be easy.
This was significantly easier than the other.
Now, Q3 is no calculator allowed. So remember, there are 4 pre-response questions. You get a total of an hour. You get 30 minutes for Q1 and Q2. You get 30 minutes for 3 and 4. 1 and 2 are calculator. 3 and 4 are no calculator. All right? You gotta stick in the space that they give you. So I labeled my points. I'm not sure. Because I didn't have a calculator, I used all fractions. But I said F was 1/100, 30. G was 3/200, 0. J was 1/50, -30. K was 1/40, 0.
140?
And P was 3/100, 30. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it is.
I got 5 200s. Oh,
You can simplify it down.
that's 140. Okay.
All right. You okay with that?
Oh.
All right. Second part said, what did the second part say? The question was, I'll find the question. Okay. Question said, write or find the values of A, B, C, and D. And the equation has to be of this form. So A sine B T plus C plus D. All right, so you had to figure that out. So what I said was 30, A was 30. B was 100 pi, C was -1/200, and D was 0. I don't know, does that look right to you? Anybody get that?
Wait, you said -1/100? Wouldn't we make it a cosine?
I did 0.02. I had 0.025, which is.
Oh,
For this one, you
okay.
could have multiple answers, right?
You could have multiple answers. This is what I came up with. But some of it won't change. That's gonna be the same no matter
Yeah.
what.
Same
That's
like
gonna be the
this.
same no matter what. That could change, and this could change
Yeah,
something.
because I did my A negative, and then I did negative times 3
I
over
could,
200.
so I could have done the .025.
You don't have a calculator.
No.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the decimal equivalents are fine, but you're not gonna have a calculator, so, I don't know. All right, part C. What does that question say? I stapled these together. Part C says, which of the following is true? Well, what did you think was true?
I got it.
D.
Yeah.
G to J is negative and decreasing. On the interval, describe the concavity and determine whether the rate of change is increasing or decreasing. So we gotta describe every part of that, or answer every part. So G to J is concave up. So the rate of change of H is increasing, concave up, increasing. All right, we good? Okay, let's take a little bit of time here and do Q4. See if you can figure out Q4 with your partner. Then we're gonna come back and work on it together. So no Yes.